Hello, dear friends. Good morning. I'm very happy to be here with you today. How do you do? Do you get a signal coming? Can you hear us? Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. I'm very happy to be here with you today. Just a reminder to all of us that we can lift a hand. Yes, Cindy, good morning. Pixie, Seniola, Felipe, dear friends on YouTube. We have a new friend here. Hello, Stardust. And I remind us all that we can lift a hand or raise the hand and we can speak by voice, unmute ourselves and speak. Yes. Hello, Felipe. Hello, good morning. I would like to start. Yes, we are very happy that we have a new friend this morning. I would like us to start with a relation between a history and story and birth. There is a word for womb which is called histero. Histero is a womb. We can later Google what histero means in which language. I will not go now into linguistic. I don't want to go into those fields anymore to write and to spell everything. But from histero, womb in English, we also have history, the generations of, because once there's a birth, there's a story. There is what was before and what is proceeding. Do we understand the relation between histero? I think histero, it might be with why histero, I'm not sure. The Greek, you can find it. We have histero and we have history and story. Those not might lead to each other, but those are three keywords: histero, history, basically history, what we call today history in English, comes from histero, which is a womb, and story. Do we get the connection between those three words? Histero, which is a womb in English, where the baby grows, where the fetus grows. This is histero. And from this we have history and story. Those words are connected. Why did we start with this? Because the history or the story starts where? Where does the story or the history start? At the moment of birth. Before birth, there's no story, there's no history. Yeah? In English, we say family. Family, what is a family? In all languages, the word family is known. Like, people live together. But why do we say family and not masculine for family? Why do we say family? Yes? To this union of people living together, why do we call this, so to speak, structure or form of life family? Yes, and not masculine. Why is that so? How can we explain, yes, that the word family, yes, is coming from which word? Can you guess? Can we guess? Family. Where does the word family come from? Where does it come from? Familiar. Familiar comes from family. Very good. Familiar comes from family. Because someone that I recognize around, yes, familiar, because he's family to me. I see him very often. But where does the word family comes from? Very good, feminine. So the sense of the family comes from the feminine. But why not the masculine? Why don't we use the word masculini for this group of people that live together? Why we say family? Why during the generation the word family has rooted up? Yes, because very good. Because very good. Very good. Yes. Before birth, when there is no birth, there is no story, there is no identity. Only when there's a birth, which means the appearance in time, we have a story. There is a child or there is a baby and there's a story. Let's say most of us have like babies album or toddlers or children album that the previous generation made for us, and we can open any album now and we can see we were introduced to this album and we were told, yes, that this is our life. The day you were brought from hospital, yes, and the first Christmas with a hat, yes, and the first vacation on the seashore with a bucket and a shovel and a boat. And we used to, browse in this album, or our parents or relative told us and browse this album and say, here, you are 1 year, and here is your second birthday, yes, and here is your first tooth, and so on. And we were accustomed, yes, to relate to those pictures or this occurrences, event in time as our life. Hello, Abigail. Do we understand how the narration starts at birth, or the story that we are being told about our lives? There are few pictures in the album, and this is what we'll term, yes, our relation to life. A, B, C, D, 4, 5. Yes, 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 yes. We, all of us have, I believe, yes, I didn't check, but I presume that some of us have like babies albums or so. And this is what is happening there. This is our identity. Now, another question. Have you heard about situation that happens to people that called Alzheimer or dementia? Have you heard those two words? Yes. What happens in those situations to people? What happened if you have met them or heard about this? What is happening to people in those modes? What is happening to them? They cannot remember. Yes. Yes, identify things and people. Yes, they cannot remember. They cannot identify things and people. Yes. 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 Losing the timeline of their identity. Yes, yes. They forget, and they also live life outside of normal boundaries. They forget who they are. So what happens using this frame of thinking? What happens to those people who have Alzheimer or dementia? What do they lose in one word? Starts with the letter N in English. What? Yes, they lose identity. Very good. What else do they lose? The N word. What happens to them? What is lost for them? Starts with the letter N. Narrative. Their narrative is lost. The narrative is lost. So for themselves, the narrative is lost. But what happens to the other or to the rest of the family members which are evidencing those moments? What is happening when one anchor, yes, yes, the fantasy is lost. So what happens to the other members in the family, so to speak, when one of the family members goes through Alzheimer or through dementia? So he, the one who has Alzheimer or dementia, is losing the narrative. So to speak, the story that used to be tied up like in stitches, everything used to bind as one book, yes, as one home, as one family, everything is loosening up. So what is happening to the other members of the family, so to speak, when one of them is losing her or his narration? What is happening to the other members of the family? Because they used to be hooked in a way on the same narration, on the same story. Yes, this is what happens, yes, according to the law, and yes. But what happens in the hearts, not external happening mechanically? Yes, said, yes, all of those things are happening, but what is the core of the happening? This is just an expression. What you say is an expression. Those are expressions, but what is happening inside? Go more inside. Go inside. Don't be afraid to go inside. What is happening to the family member? Yesterday, I happened to see a movie about a family in Canada that one of the family members, yes, has an Alzheimer, also a few heart attacks, and so. So this person is losing his or her connection. But what happens to try to think not personally about it? Yes, they experience sadness, loss, and grief, but why? Yes, Yanis, excellent. All of those, their narrative is gone. This is what happens to the family members of the one, yes, that has an Alzheimer or, yes, dementia. The family members around him, and this is the hardest part, more than losing a friend or a family member. The loss of a narrative is the most painful thing. Do we understand? To lose a narrative is painful. More than the loss of people is a losing narrative. Why it is so painful? Yes, one loses identity. Excellent, excellent. Yes, yes. Yes, excellent. The walls are falling around us. The walls are falling. Yes. What do parents do for their children when they're toddlers? A child does not know the world as it is because they are mediators. The parents are the mediators. They protect the children. They supply them what they need, everything. They try to take care of them, and they are the holders of the walls. Yes. They also build a universe around the children. A universe is being built around the children. And what happens is when one of the adults, of the parents, is going through the process of either or both, there's a loss of narrative. Not just the elder guy or lady, they're losing their narrative. All the bundle of life around them is suffering from what? What happens to the bundle of life around them? All of those people are suffering from what? The loss of narration. It's not just running to the home parents and deliver with what is necessary and all of the paper. This is just the most painful thing, and the most sufferable point is the loss of narrative. Who am I? Where is the story? What kind of a meaning? Why do even we live? How can it be? Okay, there is a process called aging. We understand. We saw as children, there's a grandparents, and so when we were kids, we understand. But the most painful thing is to lose the narrative. It is, of course, it's great to lose the narrative, but at the beginning, it's very painful. It is very relieving to lose the narrative, but it doesn't happen naturally. I mean, to some people, maybe in one go, yes, but for some people, it's a process. It is good to lose the narrative because the narrative does not exist. This is something that it's an artificial construct that was made via people around us, the family members, cultures, schools, university, education systems, what we picked up during growing up, friends, and so. Yes, narrative is like being programmed. Yes, true. People feel very safe. What narrative gives to people? Safety belt. I'm safe. Life in their origin is a shaky mode, is uncertainty. Life, the root of life is uncertainty. And during the generations, during the time, people try to build a safety belt or safety belts around this uncertainty that exists in life, and walls to ensure, yes, that people will live in peace, unshakable. Yes, so Fernando, would it be possible to connect these ideas with the current parasha about Tazria? Ishaki Tazria, yes, a woman that shall seed and she will give birth to. Yes. Yes, another question make me think about how could we relate this subject to the concept of Haggadah, Magid, and so. Yeah, very good, because in the Haggadah and Magid there is. Yes, look, I can't hear, but I can read what is being discussed. I personally like narrative. So let's try to answer. First of all, I'll try to answer Felipe's question about the Haggadah. Because in the Haggadah, the story of going out of Egypt, seemingly there's a story of the generations. But the story of the generation, so to speak, is being told. Why? To negate the story, to negate the narration. Yes? The whole story is to negate it. Yes. Because what happens, and I would like to continue with this loss of narration that people experience. It's a loss. And some people feel or think that if the narration is gone, they cannot live life, or life is impossible to live because the frame, so to speak, the mental frame of living life, or the concept how we live life, how we celebrate holidays, how things were being done is gone. So what's now? we're standing in front of a broken well. Yes? How to drink water, what is happening. But life, in a way, as it is, they are not hanging their hats on personal people. Life just continues. We are being being inhaled by a source, by a higher source. Our hearts are pulsating from a higher source, and life is being generated and given to us, and we are living life. So there is no, in a way, place to worry what will happen or what is happening, because life is happening regardless of our moods or what is happening, yes, in the weather. Life is just what is happening, and it's beautiful. Yes, very good, Fernando. Very good, Fernando. Very good. Because what is a birth? Yes, and what is like passing, or we say to pass away or to die. There is a bud in a flower. Yes, this is the beginning of life. Let's say take the flower. There's a bud coming. There's a birth coming. And there's a process that the flower is blooming. Yes, the bud is open. We see petals and so. But comes the time and the wind comes. And the petals, in a way, are being opened. And there's a blow. And comes the wind and blow the petals. And there's no flower anymore. So this is like Alzheimer or dementia. The narrative that used to hold everything in one go as a flower, the narrative is gone. So who are we? We continue to live regardless, and we understand in a way during the process that a narrative is something what? Temporal. Narration relates to time and space. Yes, yes, yes. Very good. Very good, Janus. Family member have taken care. Yes. Without the narration. Yes. Yes. You take care of a stranger, so to speak. Yes. This is the beautiful thing. Because what creates those people, the parents, is that the story that we tell ourselves. And now is like taking care of a stranger. Yes? A living soul. A stranger. We don't know. Yes, and they don't know. And this is the beauty. Yes, impersonal. This is a great, people do not, when we open like radio shows or conversations about Alzheimer or dementia, they have supporting groups to the family members who are going through those stories or those happenings. But the great relief is, in a way, is the recognition that our lives are impersonal, non-personal. This is, in a way, a great spiritual exercise from which we can see that life is not personal. Yes. Yes. The narration many times is what to control the tribe. Of course, the narration is a trick. Yes? Yes. To catch people inside. Yes? But it depends of how we relate to those moments. To grow out of those moments is to understand that life is impersonal. For a baby, life is personal. Yes? For a baby, life is personal. If he doesn't get his food on time, he will cry. If he has an ear pain, he will cry until we take him to the doctor, get him some kind of drops or something. Everything is personal for a baby. But there is a hope that during the course of life, we shall understand that life is impersonal. The air that 8 billion people now inhaling the same air. This is impersonal air. Yes? Yes, Pixidis, the narration is an abstraction we create, yes, to make, yes, stable ground to walk on, like a bit. Yes, yes, yes. Very good. Very good. This is a very, very temporary shore or carpet. Yes, very good. Very, the narration, the narrative is a very short leash that we can stand on carpet. Yes, it is very short. All those narrations that people do not do this in purpose, but in a way to protect, yes, to protect the toddler mind from the infinite, to protect, to frame, to put shackles, walls, yes, from the infinite. But nature comes, and comes the blow, and the flower is gone. Questions so far? Would you like to speak? Would you like to share your experience or thoughts about the topic? I repeat, the source of the Haggadah, yes, the core source of the Haggadah is basically the narration, yes, a deconstructing that there is no father and there is no son. But since tribes are reading those stories, so what happens is that during the course of reading the Haggadah, there is enforcement of who is the father and who is the son, what was before and what comes after, cause and effect, dominion, control, and so. The source of the Haggadah is what to deconstruct the narration. This is the story. I mean, so this is the beauty of Passover. There is no narration. You tell the narration to negate it. You're most welcome to speak. Yes? Yes, yes, very good, Eniola. Very good, very good, very good, Eniola. Very good. This is the deconstruction. Yes, the deconstruction of the manifested, of the narrow, of the history, and come into being. Yes, a deconstruction of, so to speak, time, and there's coming to being. This is the story of the Haggadah. Everybody's equal in a being. There is no father, there is no son. Yes, there is no cause, there is no effect. Everybody's equally zero. Therefore, they say halayla hazeh. Yes, this night. This is how the story starts. Kulanu mesubim. All of us are circling around one table. Circling. Mesubim from circle. Yes, meaning not sitting 90 degrees on chairs, but on pillows that you cannot sit straight. There is no 90-degree angle in time because 90 is time. So everybody's circling, everybody's evenly being free from the narration, free from Egypt, free from time, free from bondage of self. Yes, Cindy? Hello?
Hello. Good
Hello.
morning.
Good morning. How do you
Good
do?
afternoon.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you. It made me think hysterectomy or English, I guess, maybe is of course it does not come from English, but the removal
The
of a
removal.
woman's
Mm-hmm.
womb or uterus. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then hysteria, I read that it's wandering, like running around, wandering uterus. they would think that if they could take the womb from the women, they would not be wandering anymore. Um, like come back to their senses, come back to the story. So that's interesting. But my question is how to continually, day in and day out, um, kind of fight against the narrative or move more into the infinite, the real story, the maybe the impersonal, like you say.
Yes, thank you for the question, Cindy. We don't have to fight, because once we fight, there's a duality, there's a story on the narration, and there's a fighting against. Just drop it. Just let it be. Lose interest in the story of what we were told, and that we are brothers, siblings, sisters of this and that, and children of this and that, and so. Yes, yes. Just drop it. Lose interest. It doesn't interest. Just it's not interesting anymore. There's so much life to live, regardless of this narrow story. There's so much life to live. So much, because we can remember that we were defined in a way by the story, by the surrounding that defined us, yes, and we just live according to definition. You can go to this school and so and so. And according to the talent that they found in us and what life is really about, just drop it. It's not interesting. It's like, it's like there's a new season, and suddenly you find a new coat, yes, and you wear this current coat of the current season, and you lose interest in the old coat from the other season. This is it. It's just okay. It used to be a coat. I used to wear it, but now there's a new season. I move into a different coat, and this is it. It is the selfing inside of us. Never let us leave the story. It will always continue and continue and continue. But when it appears, I'm not interested in the story. Something else to do now. Not to give the story a company, not to give the story, the narration, a sense of a nest, that it's warm and nice here and you can stay forever. On the contrary, to lose interest in the story. It's not interesting anymore. Yes? Thank you, Fernando. Yes. And today, yes, we're going to have a Rosh Chodesh that, in fact, yes, it's the beginning of a year. Yes, Rosh Chodesh. This is Rosh Chodesh Nisan. Yes, Nisan from Miracles. Rosh Chodesh, this is a new moon month which is being born. And this is the beginning of a new counting. Yes, a new year. Yes, a year that starts in spring is the year that we count in freedom. Yes, a year that starts in the autumn according to the North Hemisphere, because it's opposite season, north and south. But yes, Passover is when we count from freedom, from spring. Yes, Luke. Hello. Luke, you have ability to speak, but your microphone is not connected, I guess, so we cannot hear you. If you want to speak, raise your hand. Yes, maybe Luke has to reconfigure the microphone position that we can hear him. Fernando, Felipe, if you want to speak, Pixidis, Abigail, please feel free. Yanis. Just I would like to relate to what Cindy said 2 minutes ago. So you will fix it, okay. Hystero is the word for a womb, and hysteria is coming from hystero. What happened is in the ancient Greece, like young maidens became pregnant, and they were very soft, very sensitive, because it was like in their teens, 13, 14, very, very young. And at the moment of birth, they used to shout, because it's a killing pain to give birth. So they used to shout in the moment of birth. And they were also, the bodies were very soft, and so they used to shout a lot. Until today, people are shouting at birth in any hospital. It's never gone, this killing. But, and people used to see them shouting and shouting and shouting, and uncontrollable shouting. So they used to say hysteria, hysteria. Why? This is the shouting of the womb at the moment of birth. This is what hysteria means. In our time, hysteria is like, how do you say, panika? Yes, they say that women have history or hysteria, and men, they have panika. Yeah, because it comes from Pan, the god of whatever. But in ancient Greece, when the people used to say hysteria, hysteria, the meaning of the call hysteria, hysteria, there's a young maiden at birth. Again, young maiden, 12, 13, 14, 15 at birth. This is the meaning of hysteria, which comes from hystero. Hystero is a womb, so she is giving birth. So she's shouting her hystero, her womb is shouting at birth. This is hysteria. Even today, birth is a killing. It doesn't matter in which position, because it's still at young age, 12, 13, 14, 16, the womb is not sitting, because this is still, it's still growing. It is in a process of growing, yes? In the teens years, the body of a man, it's a bit different. It's also, man is just stabilizing the growth. It's just suddenly the nose comes out, and just speaking externally, and the ears, and there is no harmony. It will be harmonized around 18, 20 or so. But those young maidens, the womb, everything is still growing, it's not sitting. And if you beat it, yes, the soft, young, let's say, maiden, if you beat it with a pregnancy, it's completely, it's a killing. Yes? Not it's not killing in later age, it's just a killing. But this is how life is about. Yes, this is the source of the word hysteria. Young maiden at birth. Her womb is shouting from pain. Questions? I just would like to relate to what Fernando wrote earlier about Parashat Metzorah, what we called as leprosy. And Metzorah, it means Motzi Shem Ra, takes a bad name. And Fernando was asking or relating this word Metzorah to the narrative, to this narrow storytelling. Yes, this is a beautiful relation or a beautiful link, yes, between a narration and Metzorah. Very good, Fernando. Questions, thoughts, ideas to share, experience to share. Yes? Yes, Fernando? Hello.
Shalom, Eti.
Hello,
Can you
good
hear me?
morning. Yes, we can. Very good. Hello, hello.
Finally, because
Finally.
now, okay. Shalom, everybody. Eti, I was just uh, thinking about this idea of the narrative that is quite beautiful because when you leave this old clothes, as you make the analogy, we feel free and we feel light and renewed, right? Sometimes we hold the narrative so much that it becomes heavy and we become sad. But just this morning, I was listening to, a, to a podcast, an interview with a Jungian analyst from Israel, and he was speaking about treating some Orthodox Jews that uh, they have a problem that is like to he attends some of these persons and this idea that is about Metzorah as well, that is the bad tongue. You know, we have this idea that to speaking evil things about somebody brings disease. Let's say it's a great sin to make a bad narrative, right? And so this analyst was saying that it was quite difficult to open a conversation because if you ask about, oh, how was your mother? Oh, she was a great woman. And your father, oh, a great man. And the conversation is over. So the people need to ask permission to a rabbi to speak about their experience in childhood and to make sense of about this. So I'm just thinking it about the two sides of the coin, you know, because in one side we need to live the narrative, we need to just be, but in the other side we also need the free speech, you know, like the ability to make sense about what we pass through. I don't know how to deal with these two, this paradox, let's say. I know that the vessel is the that we need to make is the ability to hold the paradox, not to kill the paradox, let's say. But I was just looking about these two sides, you know, and I don't know what would you think about this. Thank you.
You're welcome. Speaking about this is just, how do you say, fixating the selfing. Yes. If people in a certain time in their lives, they need to process to understand what is happening. But speaking about it repeatedly, just in a way, enforcing the selfing. Speaking about, let's say, certain person, doesn't matter, which is called me, any me, and his parents, A and B, is just enforcing the narrative. It's just, this is the center of the, now what is the center of the conversation? This child, which is a grown up now, he or she, and the parents, A and B. The more conversations that are happening around those topics, the more they enforcing back the narrative, because more time, which is the moment, the current moment, which is we are breathing it at the moment now, is being taken to event that happened in the past, which is not existing anymore. The past isn't. Where is the past? Where is the future? There's only this moment. So once people drag, yes, they pull back to the past and they speak about the past. This is not what is happening at the moment. So there is, in a way, it's a swamp. The swamp is just enforcing the selfing, and the more selfing there is, the more suffering there is. So, tell you honestly, Fernando, before the 20th century, there was no analysis, and in those, let's say, Analysis, in a way, is enforcing the selfing. It's just making the selfing bigger and bigger and bigger into this monstrous dimensions. There is no personal life, and the more you analyze it, the more people analyzing personal life, the more they want to prove that there is personal life, but there isn't. It's a problem. I don't know if this is what you expected to hear, but this is what there is. It cannot be that this universe that exists, I don't know how millions of years, is personal. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work personally. This is all invention of men for a certain reason. Yes, but life is not personal at all. It starts with breathing. It's not personal. So if people, they have a need maybe to make sense, or they want to grow up, so first they have to explain themselves what was, and it is, in a way, it's sad, and it's a loss of time. And the most, I would say, dark part of the story is that it blocks people from what is happening. When people are so much in this analysis or the storytelling that they tell themselves, their guards is down, and they not notice what is happening around them at the moment, and suddenly you have attack like 7th of October or so, and people are not there. Or something happens because people are telling themselves something which is not happening. And suddenly something really is happening and they're not there. They're in analysis. It's not easy to say this, but this is how life works. Life is impersonal. Completely impersonal. This is the truth. If all of us are inhaling the same air, drinking the same water, how life can be personal? This is just invention of a child, that everything is directed at him personally. People, many organizations, political institutions, sports organization, or whatever, losing their times and other people's time dealing with what is not happening. But this is how most of the world is working. Only few are, in a way, are aware to the fact that what is being, and this is it. Most of the people occupied with things that do not really exist. But this is how the nature of people is. Yes. Yes. The being is hidden from any form. When people try to build institutions and claim, yes, that they have it, or they have just, I heard, all kinds of methods. Each one claim for a method, shita. In Hebrew, they call it shita. There was a series on Netflix, Kaminsky Method. How to be an actor. There are all kinds of systems or shitot or methods, shita. People have all kinds of methods or theories how things are. But in a way, shita comes from shittim, this tree from which they used to build the ark for the boards of covenant. And they say that shita comes from shtuyot, from nonsense, when in a way the box of the cabinet that we build is from nonsense, and what there is inside is the being. Yes, so the form, the tzorah, is like, or the narrowness or the narrative is according to each one's method and whatever. But what is inside, which is being, is free from any form. Yes, Fernando?
If I may, I agree with you, but I just see a paradox,
What is the
because,
paradox? Yes, what is the paradox that you see?
well, because for us to be here now, uh, and having this encounter, somebody had to develop computers and somebody had to develop the connections and Discord, and many uh, individuals need to be quiet, living in this, let's say, living in this identity side, let's say. It is like going to a surgery room that only works for to be a doctor, to be a great doctor. Well, he is living this narrow side because
Yes,
he only lives this narrow side.
yes,
But in the other hand, he is somehow helping people, or
yes,
you are needing him in some point.
yes,
And this is one aspect that I would like to listen from you. And about analysis, I truly agree with you. But it depends, because in my experience, it brings creativity and brings expansion to just to show exactly that you are not what you think you are. Like
mm-hmm.
you are not bound to this family. You do not need to follow it. You do not need to follow the place that you are living in. You need to expand your consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So I mostly think that is about this encounter of personalities, about this miracle that happens when when people gather.
Yes, 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 it's true. It is true. Miracles happens when people are gathering. They're coming together. I agree.
Thank you, Eti.
Most welcome. If I understood you well, Fernando, if I understood you well, that you said that those meetings are happening in a way to negate the story. Though you meet in different circles, the meeting is to negate the story or the narration, to prove the other way. If I understood you well. If I understood you well. Yes. Yes. I see. Yes. Yes. That's correct. That's correct. So, dear friends, thank you so much for your participation today. I would like to wish you a very good month, a beautiful year, and see you soon. Shalom, shalom.